Greetings and salutations. I'm Ekimmak, and this is not a Let's Play. It's been 10 years since my first upload to YouTube. I feel that deserves something special. I may not have been uploading Let's Plays for all that time, but I felt a recap history is the perfect way to celebrate the occasion. So, let's get underway. My first ever upload was a Sims 3 video. YouTube is much better off that you can't view that anymore. The oldest thing you can find on the channel at the moment is a video I made of Final Fantasy XIV. Sort of a joke really. Thought it would be funny to take a specific one-shot battle and play different music over it. Nothing too special, but at least not lowering of the average quality of the internet as a whole. My first experience with Let's Plays came about from what I love most, gaming. I kept seeing a game on the local shop shelves called Persona 4 Golden. Every time I would go, ooh, something to add to my Vita library, wait! An M-rated game with sexualized imagery? Pass. I thought it was some sort of police drama hentai game. But it kept grabbing my eye, and eventually I said, right, I need to find out what this is, so I stopped getting stopped along my browsing by looking at it. So, I went to the search bar and looked for videos on Persona 4 gameplay. The video I found was of Super Genius's Let's Play. Not only did that sell me on the game, but I subscribed to his channel and played along with him. Later on I was exposed to the full Let's Play community by a different entrance. A forum on Xenoblade Chronicles linked an episode of Chugga Conroy's Let's Play. Out of curiosity, I watched it. Turns out that was a good move. He was a very interesting mix of entertaining and informative. That led to so many different Let's Players I follow now that to list them all would take too much time, and I don't remember the exact introduction for each. But I felt those two introductions were worth a mention. Eventually I had the thought I assume most Let's Players have. That looks like fun, I think I'll give it a shot. So I picked out a video game I thought would be a fun reference and set off to record it. That game was Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, a very Australian game made by an Australian studio. This was not a good idea. My thought was, I'm Australian, so clearly this'll work out fine. That project took almost 2 years to finish, and only goes for 14 episodes. I had no investment in the project, and that's reflected by the quality of the work. I suppose what changed then was Chugga Conroy releasing his own anniversary video. He talked about the process that went into his videos, and I realized I hadn't given it much effort or thought. My Let's Play was not good because I wasn't really trying. But he also encouraged people to go out and make content because practice makes perfect, and if you keep waiting for the perfect project, it'll never happen. I ensured that Ty was finished with minimal problems. I knew what would be the project that I'd have the proper passion and investment for. CrossCode. CrossCode was a game I fell in love with the beta and was eagerly awaiting its release. And that's when it hit me. Kill two birds with one stone. I needed a game I was invested in, and I was really looking forward to CrossCode, so I made that my next LP project. We laughed, we cried, we loved, we lost. It was a fantastic journey. I feel like it's not just because the game's MMO setting appeals to a game of my generation. It has generally endearing character writing and raises legitimate questions. The gameplay, despite the fact I hate that sort of genre of gameplay, I loved the game. So that's an achievement for you. I look forward to returning to that game when they release the post-game story content. Of course, a game that good comes once in a blue moon, and there was no way my next project would live up to that. I decided to go in a different direction for the next project, with a title called The Sexy Brutale. Whereas CrossCode is a massive action RPG scaling over 300 hours, Sexy Brutale is a game I've beaten 100% several times, and with a playtime of less than 1 day. The stealth time travel puzzle game doesn't have a lot of content, but I felt it deserved to look at, and Let's Playing it gave me that opportunity. The idea of watching a daily routine off the side, seeing the many grisly murders until you figure out the way to indirectly prevent it, that's an interesting gameplay. But it's the underlying mystery of why that all happens that needed the discussion. Following that, my next play was a 3-parter, the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Getting to see a nostalgic blast from the past was a good experience. Both remembering those old times and getting to see the improvements that brought it forward for today's audience. I did feel that all 3 parts in one go would be too much, so I decided to make each game its own project. The first Spyro game was mostly about exploration of the different worlds, lacking the character of later games, but it was still a good time. But then came the darkest day of my channel. Filled with overconfidence and hubris, I decided to let's play 2 games at once, Wargroove and Disgaea. Now, don't get me wrong, these are both good games, and I enjoy playing them. But let's playing them just didn't work. The videos were long and uneventful. I wasn't really commentating because I was too focused on the strategy. Trying to keep up my content on my channel with these was just killing my enjoyment of what I did. Both these projects are unfinished. Maybe one day I'll finish them, but for now, strategy RPGs don't really work here. I desperately needed to get my passion for Let's Plays back again, so I went back to Spyro Reignited, this time Spyro 2. This game I have a lot of nostalgia for because it was my very first console game. While I have personal grievances with the title the Reignited Trilogy gives it, to the point of coming up with a new title every level, I still think it's good. I can nitpick the changes, but it doesn't change that this is still very nostalgic to play through. Close to the end of Spyro 2, I started another Let's Play, getting back into double uploads. This one wasn't much, just Luigi's Vacation Simulator. I pestered the help with ludicrous requests, had fine dining, visited the museum, attended a piano concert, watched a magic show, ran into an old friend. Nothing that interesting happened, but it was still fun. Nearing the end of that, I watched a live stream of Proton John's, where he played River City Girls. I have no investment in this series at all at that point, but I liked the character dialogue, and I thought it was funny. I gave the game a test episode and decided I should try it. And yeah, the writing is consistently good until they balls it up at the end, but this was a trial. I don't play this type of game at all, and some of these bosses are seriously tough. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of the game, but it was a fun enough time. Following those is my most recently completed project, Spyro 3 Reignited. I think the most unfortunate thing about this is there's not much to say about it. Yeah, I enjoy the nostalgia trip, but I didn't do anything of note. Might just be the game though. I feel like, well, Insomniac were trying to move away from Spyro. They were kind of losing track of what they could still keep doing with him, and I guess that shows in the game, and there's only so much a remaster can do. And now, my current projects. I realized a while back that I'd get really anxious if I don't have any projects on hand. If I had a free moment I could record in, but no games to record, that got to me. So I decided to do what I did for CrossCode and kill 2 birds with 1 stone with Trails in the Sky. This is a long RPG. Things are easily lost if you don't follow a strict guide. A casual gaming session isn't going to work well with that, but the job-like structure of Let's Playing? That fits perfectly. I alternate this one on and off depending on if I have projects I want to do and can't wait for. But this is still something I feel is worth note. The slow start of the game is no problem at all. The characters are more than fun enough to make up for it. Now I've actually gotten into chapter 1, 22 episodes in. We can only wait to see where this story will go. My other project shows I really don't learn from my mistakes, as it's another tactics RPG, Fire Emblem, 3 Houses. I was somewhat upset when playing through the game on my own time because they had some great plot twists, but I didn't have any live reactions recorded out there. I resolved to show my reactions to the DLC story that they released later on, but these maps, they're hard and they take forever to beat. My poor computer can't handle many recordings of this in LP, so I'm gonna have to ensure I have a good backlog of Trails episodes before you can expect uploads from that. Overall, I still have ideas for new projects. I have a game I've been meaning to LP for years and never get the time slot set aside for it. I've got ideas for interesting and informative projects inspired by Let's Players I look up to. And I have one very long JRPG to finish. Whether I become another one of the Let's Play greats or stay as a low-key content creator with single-digit views, that's irrelevant to me. I enjoy this, and I hope to enjoy it for a long time. Take care. I'll see you all around.